These next several slides are all connected here. It's Platoon brought up earlier about ideas on saving movie theaters, and it looks like a few studios have actually come out with some ideas. In particular, AMC CEO Adam Aron says 3 major studios have agreed that they need to bring back the 45 theatrical day window.
Okay, but what happens if the film you're landed with is Snow White or Madam Web? then you're stuck with 45 days of empty theaters. This isn't
Probably
actually
should just-
the be-all. This is not the golden bullet that people are looking for. It
No.
still goes back to the quality of the film. It can even be worse if you basically say, yeah, protectionism for movies now. We have it for everything else. Why the fuck not movies too? Just have 45 days of no other competition. But if nobody wants to go and see it, then the theater is screwed. They're making no money.
In any other industry, they would eventually have people smart enough to know that it always comes back to quality. But when it comes to storytelling, it's the one
Minecraft.
blind spot that people have. I'm convinced that most people don't understand what a good story is. They just know they've watched millions of movies, and that's how you get this shit. It comes back to quality. I don't care what type of window you have. What are you gonna do with your fucking Captain Wakanda? Like, it's a complete terrible strategy, and it's so bizarre that they don't have that same connection of the producers and the creatives that they had back in through like the 70s through early 2000s. Now it's just become just producer madness, it seems like, and too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, just to add, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Vex. You have permission.
Thank you. Just to add, I think even if it's a good movie and you bring back the 45-day window, you're not going to see a switch very quickly because audiences have now been trained that, oh, if I just wait, it'll be on digital. I don't have to go and spend $15 to $20 on a ticket. And this is not like something that we just got introduced to. It was a slow and steady pacing, and then COVID happened and people just started dropping things immediately on there. So this isn't even a good way to try and get it started. You have to incentivize theater goers. And I guess that's what why the popcorn buckets work so well, or why even like as much as Barbie is a terrible movie, it got people into the theater. It was an event. It was an experience.
Yep. It was one of the best marketing movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Barbie, Black Panther, and the Blair Witch Project. Those 3.
Yes. So you got to incentivize audiences. Just having the movie running for 45 days isn't going to do anything.
Yeah. Black Panther was trash, but they made an event out of it. I'll never forget my sister trying to like convince me that the Blair Witch Project was real, and like that was her pitch. I'm like, no way. And like, you can't get away with that anymore. Yeah, she would try to torture me with any horror movie she could. But that one, I just remember being so immersed because of that, and you can't do that anymore. You can't. It's very hard to make an event out of it. Infinity War, that was an event.
Yeah. Well, they've got a really tough uphill battle because there's tons and tons of content. People know the stuff is going to come to streaming soon, and even if it's like 6-9 months, like who gives a shit? Like there's so much to watch. Nothing is really like a must-see event. And then it's really hard to market because there's no one place you can put your marketing dollars that everybody's gonna at least hear of something. Like there are whole movies that come and go that people just never even heard of. They don't even know they're in theaters. And so you have to convince them that the movie exists and it looks like a lot of fun, but also not give the entire movie away in the trailer because then they just feel like, well, I kind of know what is going on, so I don't need to see the movie now. It's really, really hard to get butts in theaters. And then that's not even detailing the price issue where it's just cheaper to like buy a movie on digital. It's $25. That's the same or less than 2 evening tickets, not even counting concessions.
Yeah. And if you have kids, all the popcorn and drinks, it adds up. You have to make it an experience that's worth all that. And it's, not to mention travel. It's complicated. But back in the day, all that was worth it because you'd come out with something that you're never going to forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When's the last time, I think everyone on this panel could say, when's the last time you've had a theater experience where like, yeah, I'm so glad I saw this in the theater. Like mine was
Endgame.
Endgame.
That was it.
I think Dune
was that your face when you watched the Minecraft movie?
Mine was Terrifier 3 because my husband and I went to a double showing and it was just Terrifier fans in the theater. So we all had like the same experience.
that's the community experience is a big part of it as
Mhm.
well. Yeah,
Mhm.
-1 like hit the atomic breath was like, this is what IMAX is for. Holy shit, that was
Yeah.
loud. Like,
Further ideas on how to save cinemas. Regal CEO suggests they have texting auditoriums and let people smoke weed in theaters. I'm not
Just
saying we're
hot-
gonna test. I'm not saying we're never gonna test it. We should test everything.
What?
just hotbox the shit out of the theaters. That's their plan. Like, are you serious?
Oh my fucking god, they are desperate.
I would have been
Desperate,
all over this idea when I was 15. I'd be like, man, but
for
no.
sure.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think that's the solution.
People already text all the way through movies.
Yeah,
Like, what's this going to do? Loads of people are already high when they go and see movies. I think that's
Yeah.
about 75% of the enjoyment for the Minecraft from people who are older than 12 when they go and see it is that they're just high. And then good luck trying to then enforce anti-copyright measures if you're allowing people to have their phones out all the way through the movie. Obviously,
Mhm.
someone's going to record it.
I skipped that part in my head. Like texting auditoriums, is that what they're referring to? Like allowing people
Mhm.
to use their phone? Like what's the purpose?
Specific auditoriums, it sounds like.
where you can just whip out. The
Why
phone
would
and
you
text.
want to even like what?
Yeah. Well, that just says the movie is so Netflixified that you can just be texting while it's going, and you can still.
Why would you
get
want to
most
go
of it.
out to see a movie if you want to be able to specifically be on your phone? I can't wait to put my phone away and not look at it for 2 hours if it's a movie worth that. Like, it's just, I don't get it, man.
So-
That is the worst. That I'd rather hotbox the theater. That's a better idea than this stupid text. That's retarded.
So wait, they want people on the phones and to be high at the same time. There's going to be fights all over the place.
What? Lost phones? Like, it's just a stupid idea all around. Triple their popcorn sales. Maybe that's the real strategy. Just in the back of their head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're on the
Um,
right track right now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead because I was gonna go to the next slide.
Oh,
It's all
okay.
wrapped together, so it's all good.
Gotcha. I mean, like cinemas are kind of on the right track. I like that they're getting a little bit smarter and like picking like really popular movies and doing re-releases of them. So like I saw someone mention Princess Mononoke in IMAX, which is apparently a great experience, but not playing near me, so I can't see it. But that's a great thing. Like Seven got a full like 4K like remaster, and they put that in IMAX back in January, and it actually made pretty decent money at the box office. I think if they can just again give people an incentive. So like these are movies that I never had a chance to see in theaters, and I'd happily like drive the 20 minutes to go see it there if it were
100%.
near me.
Yeah.
The
I agree.
Thing, Aliens, so many of the classics that I didn't see any of them in theater. And it would be amazing too. And
Yeah.
there's a market in that. Like there's always going to be hardcore movie fans like us, and
that would
we want to
only
fight
last-
this TikTok crap.
But you'd watch all the films in like a month, and then you got 11 months of just shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, actually, you just got to be smarter with it, I guess, too, right? So, like, it was interesting with the 7 release because they did the theatrical IMAX run first, and then they released the remastered DVD or sorry, Blu-ray cut after that. So the incentive was get them in the theaters first, and then give them the option to watch it at home. And you had like I think it was in 2 or 3 weeks that it was running in theaters over here in North America. So you just have to be a bit smarter with it. Like you retrain your audience a little bit out of what they because like Mickey 17, it was on digital 18 days after release.
Well, it bombed,
That too, but
which
like
is why the
that's
45-day
crazy.
window is really kind of it should just be a per movie basis. 'Cause
But
if
yeah, it has to
bombs, then
be
you're stuck with it.
contextual.
yeah, so
Because that used to be a metric back in the day. The faster it goes to DVD, the shittier the movie is.
Right, the
You know what I
worse it
mean?
was.
true.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, fair.
And that's for some like kids. Even I knew that was a thing. I didn't understand business to that degree, but you
Yeah.
just know that's how it works.
It still is a thing to this day. Like I would be very surprised if the Minecraft movie is out of theaters within 45 days.
Mhm.
Like
I
Mario was
specifically-
in cinemas for like 6 months, I think it was, before that went to streaming. So
Mm.
And then you have the opposite. I remember waiting ages to get my hands on the Lord of the Rings DVDs. They made you wait for those motherfuckers because they're so good, you know? So it was the opposite for like good stuff. So yeah, it's just always been a really good metric to look at.
Mhm.
I like how it's anything but make good movies.
yeah,
We're trying to think of
Yeah.
anything because they don't have any.
They don't know what a good story is. You know, they don't know what storytelling is, and they're making it for people who don't care about quality. They're on their phone half the time. So
Well,
It's been-
it's also kind of like
tricky.
you're bombarded with so much content so much faster. Like even if you just think 10 years ago, I don't remember us getting the amount of stuff immediately one click away as we do now. Like I go onto Netflix or Amazon's app and I'm just bombarded with so many choices. There's so many opportunity or not opportunities. There's so many things that I could be watching that it's like why would I bother going to a theater when there's so many options right here at home, sort of deal is the
Isn't
other
that
thing.
an actual phenomenon? The more choice you give someone, the less they make.
It is. Yep.
Mm,
It is.
100%.
So now you're asking that same person who's been trained to act in such a way to make a decision about one single movie at a
Think-
movie theater.
Just think about a restaurant. When you see 7 items, you read through them all, you can have an understanding what it is. Versus like something that has 37, you're just overwhelmed. You just
Mhm.
can't even like you want something in there, but you don't want to go through the whole thing. But it just becomes this annoying process. Versus having a high quality smaller list to actually go through.
Mhm.
But it all comes back to quality. If you don't have that as your foundation, then you're screwed.
I do have a question actually. Does anyone know what the general breakdown is of how much how much money a movie makes if it goes straight to streaming? Because there's a whole deal with distribution and then ads and whatnot that's made, right? Do we have
Well, I
any?
mean, they're very, very cautious about releasing figures even for viewership when things go
Okay.
to streaming. So there would be the different models as well. Does it go to a studio's bespoke streaming service like Disney Plus, in which case theoretically it could be said to make no money because it's going to subscribers, and so the only money generated is if it generates new subscribers. But if it was not successful enough at the movie theater to get people to pay to see it, it's unlikely to get people to pay for an entire streaming service to watch it.
Mhm.
But then you get the rental options on Amazon, Sky, and all the rest of it, which I imagine will make them a bit of cash. But the reason they leave movies that are successful in cinemas longer must be because it makes them more money than not doing so, which kind of just suggests that moving them to streaming is the second best option at most, if not the third best.
There's been a few like instances where there have been streaming services that have paid like an obscene amount of money just to get the distribution rights for streaming. So at least the production company makes some money back on it versus in theaters. But I'm just wondering if there is a standard or a metric that we're aware of that they work by. But that explains it. Thank you.
Yeah, it would be nice if there was. I'd love to
Mhm.
see them actually publish accurate, reliable figures for all of the failures that they stick on Disney Plus, but we have to sort of, do our best to read between the lines.
Mhm.
Oh, there is more movie advice. Paramount. Limit trailers, no adverts, matinee pricing until 6 p.m., discounted tickets on multiple weekdays. So, hey, movie theaters, you aren't making very much money. Have you considered charging less money and so making less money and also not actually getting any ads so people aren't paying you to run ads and making even less money? And also
Yeah.
fewer trailers. So, like, fewer people are going to see trailers for things. This seems like a list of things they shouldn't be doing more than the
Yeah,
list of
that's
things they should.
silly. It's like a 10-year-old made this list of just like wishful thinking, not actually
Mhm.
understanding the business. No ads? Like, just don't get paid, bro. Okay? Like, that's the strategy to making more money. What?
The discounted tickets thing, like there's only 2 theater chains where I am. Like the main one does discounted tickets on Tuesdays, but those sell out really, really quickly. But there's another chain that's much smaller that actually does do discounted pricing at specific times of the day.
Mhm.
So that's all, like I don't know what it's like for you guys in the UK. I know the US has tons of options for cheaper tickets. But there are already theaters that do this on their own.
Yeah, some of them do weekday deals and stuff.
Mhm.
My local one. I think I'm about to pull the trigger on this because they have like a monthly subscription for tickets. I think it's like $10 a month. You get a free ticket, or I think every ticket is $10 or something like that. So
Mhm.
if I lock in with them, it's it's cheaper overall, and so I see a lot of movies. It's good. It's a good deal, but they have this stuff, but even at a discount, it's just still very expensive. And that's
It
the
is.
big complaint is that, well, people are seeing shit. Like nobody saw Novocaine, nobody saw Black Bag, nobody saw The Day the Earth Blew Up, but everybody went and saw Snow White and shitty Minecraft. It's because it's names they recognize. And even
Mhm.
if they know it's going to be garbage, it's just like middling a known quantity garbage. And it's not going to be, I don't know. I'm not sure why people avoid the unknown stuff, but that's the thing. When tickets are that pricey, you're just like, well, it's Disney, so I guess I'll see that instead of something I don't know anything about.
Very few people are allowed to tell original story nowadays. Like they have to have it attached to some iconic character or some comic or something like that. Isn't that the story with Todd Phillips and Joker? Like had a movie he was going to tell, but then they wouldn't do it unless it was attached to something
Oh yeah, you're
that's
right.
marketable.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
probably so many examples of that, of just like they have a story, they actually have passion, but they have to attach all these parasites to it because the producers don't think it's going to sell unless there's Iron Man in it. And then let's throw in Darth Vader in there, and let's throw in like whoever, Sonic, who cares? It doesn't make any sense, but it's going to make money. And
Well-
I hate that, man. They're just screwing with all these characters, messing around.
Well, brand has always been what sells. The only difference was back in the 80s, it was a movie star. So you
Yeah.
went to see a Sylvester Stallone movie, you went to
Mhm.
see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. The only
Mhm.
difference is nowadays is that the brand has nothing to do with the actors, it has to do with the IPs.
Characters, yeah. The
There's no
characters
movie stars
is what people are
anymore.
going up for. Yeah, they don't give a shit about them. And
So that's
Robert
why-
Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doolittle failing was a good example of that. Because if the Iron Man fame carried over, then that wouldn't have been completely a bomb the way it did. But people love him as Iron Man. You know what I mean? Even though he's a talented actor. Look at Chris Evans. They love him as Captain America. Look at his career elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
You
he
know?
was a slower burn, but obviously Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man were neither of them particularly hot properties when that first started. It is
No, they
possible
made
to
them.
create brands, but you do actually have to have a movie that is at the very least solid.
Yeah.
And one of the things that if you go back and look at the average year in the 80s and the number of iconic films which are not brand or even particularly character or actor led, but are such good movies that they created franchises that are now being sort of raped to death this very day. It still says like if you create something that's really good and worth watching, people will turn out to see it eventually. Word of mouth is still a big thing, but usually those things will not be massive, huge financial risks in the first place. You'll spend less on them. The story will be much better. They'll be very tight. They might be 90 minutes as opposed to 2 to 3 hours long,
they'll
for
keep
example,
trying.
or things like that. And we're spending so much money now on things which are longer and longer and longer, which are nowhere near as creative as the stuff we used to spend less money on, which were shorter. And then the people who do have really brilliant, innovative new ideas tend either to get overlooked by movies or they tend to prefer to go to a streaming company because now they get similar budgets, but they also get more time to flesh out their story. So like once upon a time, you might have had The Penguin as a movie, for example, but you didn't. You had The Penguin as a streaming service because that was just better for the story it was telling. So there's
Much
competition in
better.
that respect as well.
Much
you,
better, man.
In the 90s, you had DVD secondary sales, so things could
Yes.
become cult classics. Blade Runner was a flop, but it made its money over the DVD. And there's a clip of Matt Damon talking about this. This secondary revenue stream is what kept a lot of these unknown films. That's what made them into what they are now.
Yep.
The Thing, there's so many examples of that like even Austin Powers, I'm pretty sure the DVDs is what saved Austin Powers. It didn't do good initially.
Mhm.
And I'm there's probably a bunch that we're not remembering that are actually classic movies or iconic movies, but that happens all the time and they completely cut that now. It's such a strange, man, watching industries transform is just fascinating, but that was a massive thing. Saved so many movies we love.
Hmm.
Yeah, the streaming wars has been fucking awful.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
failure.
And the problem is with DVDs, you knew exactly which sold because you bought a specific DVD for a film. Whereas, fucking, if you've got a Netflix subscription, you might as well watch the fucking Squid Game season 2 because everyone else is kind of doing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you you're buying a subscription for Squid Game. You're just kind of throwing it on, walking out the room. You get false analytics all the time. It's all bullshit.
Yeah. Smoke and mirrors, the streaming world.